And Wardell with something like 96.6 ADR has definitely brought his AWP out today, and what was a pretty intense match for all intents and purposes. Now, welcome back to the Xfinity Analyst Desk, of course. We're going to try to break down this Ghost versus Splyce matchup. But guys, where do we even start with just Wardell, with Wardell alone?
I mean, we almost were correct with our predictions in that sense. Wardell's going to get a ton of frags, and we had Splyce winning. Instead, it was Wardell getting a ton of frags and Ghost winning. So
minor detail.
Yeah, minor detail. We'll gloss over that for now. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, again, even though when Ghosts are winning, it's off of the back of Wardell just being a hero. I mean, the guy pretty much doubled like the rest of his teammates in total frags, as he's done previously in the season as well. Obviously, he got a little bit more health. It was looking really grim. Obviously, them playing with mainline initially to start off the match, that's a detriment that we kind of alluded to as we went into the pre-match. Luckily, Stanley was able to get in there. Actually did a pretty decent job of himself, you know, when he finally got into the server. And that you could see the kind of tides turn, really, for Ghost as well at that point, because I think it was 9-2 in favor of Splyce. You know, once we saw Stanley actually get a weapon in his hands, not running around with pistols, things started to smooth out. Managed to salvage the 96 half, albeit not too convincingly in that sense. Bit of a botched round here and there, but managed to scrape by and actually give them a chance to fight back in the CT side. And as soon as Wardell gets an up in his hand, it didn't really seem like Splyce had much of a solution.
Well, the CT side of Ghost certainly did a number for them. We saw, I don't want to call it a mediocre half, but, you know, it was a pretty 9-6 scoreline, right? So
Even Steven.
Yes, I mean, it's at that point, all it takes is a pistol, and then you're right back in the game, right? So just fast-forwarding to the CT side for Ghost, what was going right for them, Pem?
I mean, Wardell pretty much was the right thing. David P, he was all over the place, playing this CT position, both in middle and in CT spawn at the ticket booth area, also rotating to B, and doing the last round we saw a sick clutch from him, basically doing a 1 or 2, finishing off with a no-scope. He was all over the place, and he didn't seem to miss a shot at all, basically shutting down Splyce completely. It was not like we talked about it out there as well. Like, Splyce actually did some decent execution, and like it seemed a little bit, it seemed organized to a point where it could work, but Wardell just shut it down every single time. And together with the other guys, you know, they played a fine CT side. I feel a little bit happy in a way, whereas Ghost actually came into this game, and it seemed like they were prepared, at least individually.
Much more so than last time.
Much more so than last time, exactly. And that's what we asked for them. You know, this is a game they have to win. This is points they have to gain. This is probably one of the only teams they can go toe-to-toe with. And so far, you know, they're off with one map, and no matter what happens on the next one, I mean, splitting with Splyce is decent for Ghost. So if they can pull off a 2-0, that'd be amazing. Losing next one, you know, it's still acceptable for them. So I think they already now has secured themselves a successful evening in that sense.
Yeah, and for how good Wardell has been, you know, pretty much only positive on the side of Ghosts at this point, to this point of the season, it's going to be hard to kind of expect him to deliver the same kind of performance going into map 2 as well. And we have to, it has to be said, like with the good executes, that means also having good smokes. The fact that Wardell is able to find picks through the smoke and whatnot isn't something you can actually count on if you're Ghost. And obviously that plays a big part when you're setting up for retakes, because a lot of time we did see Ghosts kind of give up A site. They were perfectly happy playing retakes, that kind of thing. And obviously, if you find a pick through a smoke, that's going to alleviate a ton of pressure. Going to give you so much more time to work with. You don't have to waste utility before, you know, all of the smokes from Splyce's side have faded and so on. So yeah, no, how much you can actually work with it going into the next map, hard to say, but obviously much more positive showing than what we've seen so far from them.
Well, I'm not so sure that we can do this right away, but I would like to bring up the standings to kind of help paint this picture of some other teams that we would think, at least along the same caliber, so to say. Yeah. I believe would be the appropriate terminology in the standings, if we're able to bring those up, of course. If you look at these standings, right, you can say, okay, Ghost is at the bottom. Splyce is another team we could see down there. Rogue. Depending, well, Dignitas, of course. Yeah. I didn't want to say it. Sorry, Pim. There it is.
And then you have the usual suspects at the bottom, like Cloud9, SK.
Yeah, of course. But, yeah. I mean, if you start thinking about this long term,
yeah.
Who are some other opponents that we could see them potentially pick up wins on?
Well, this is the thing, right? This is what Pimp's been talking about in the pregame as well. Dignitas being one of the suspects, really, that they have to eye in. If not a 2-0, then at least a 1-1. If you're Ghosts, I think Complexity is a team that could split maps with, again, and also Rogue. And after that, it becomes pretty scarce, because the top end of Pro League in NA right now is so much better than it's ever been. So you have extremely competitive teams. There's actually like a solidified fight for who's going to get those top 6 spots, because Energy off to a great start. Luminosity, as you can see with their wins tonight, at the top of the leaderboard. Team Liquid are not going to fumble. Renegades are playing great. Optic, a little bit shaky, but still just their individual skills should carry them through most of these kind of matchups. And then obviously SK and Cloud9 starting off slow, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to end the season slow. So there's, not a whole lot of chances for Ghost to actually grab a few points here and there. I think last season they only got 4 wins in total, like 4 map wins. So they have to, jump at every chance they get.
And even at this point, that was their first win on the season. Of course,
Yeah.
16-14, so it wasn't like it was even handed to them at that point. They fought for it tooth and nail all the way to the end, to the point where it might have went to overtime. But it didn't, and they got the W. And with that, we can now move on to our second matchup here for the night. For them, the final one, of course, the final map of the night, will be Train. And I guess in due course here, for all intents and purposes, Ghost has come out and shown just a little bit more than I think you guys gave him credit for.
Yeah, no, they definitely. I mean, we have to consider the fact that they did win 16-14. It was a close game, but they lost both pistols. So that means, Ghosts are racking up a ton of weapon rounds. That's impressive as all hell. And obviously, having Wardell, a proficient operator, feeling really hot about himself after a good game on Mirage, not necessarily going to be a different story on Train as well. A map where operators flourishes. We've seen that time and time again, even earlier tonight as well. So I think, for Ghost, they have to be feeling pretty good about where they come into this game.
Yeah, I think we talked about it. Like already now, they're like pressure off the shoulder. They got the first win of the season, and Splyce is one of those teams. They need to take them 2-0 if they want to avoid going down to the relegation play. But that's to be expected from Ghost. They are one of the teams, as we looked about before. It's Dignitas and it's Ghost. Those are 2 teams that we expect to be in the relegation no matter what. If you end last in the season or last in the league, then there's a consequence for that. If you pick up some points throughout the league, there's a better position to go into those relegations. So it means a lot for them still. That said, though, it's already fine for them now to take off this one map against Splyce. So they play with no pressure, and especially on a map like Train, that could be dangerous for Splyce, who, let's be honest, that Mirage match was it was not pretty for them. It looked like a deathmatch game they lost.
On both sides. Looked like a whole bunch of chaos going around, all around the map. Now, I'm just looking here at ProLeague.com. You can head over there at home if you'd like to follow along in the standings and stats, and along with your favorite teams, of course. But when I look at the remaining matches here for Ghost, it gets pretty hairy down the stretch, let's say it that way.
It's pretty Herald.
Speaking of Herald. So they have one more map against Splyce tonight, potentially to get their second victory of the season. Then they're going to go on to play Optic, Cloud9, Energy, and then Liquid, and SK. So after that, yes, Dignitas.
That's a pretty rough stretch.
Yeah, so at this point, yes, they absolutely. I think there's a ton of pressure to pick up what could be one of the only victories they get the rest of the season.
Yeah, no, I think outside of the teams you mentioned, again, which is the majority of the league, they have Dignitas and Complexity left to play?
LG, potentially.
Luminosity, Complexity are the last 3 matches.
I think, if we're being brutally honest, I think we have to look at Dignitas, Complexity, and their final map today as their biggest chances to pick up map wins. Yeah. Otherwise, it's going to be really tough to convince me to see them taking a map off of any of the remaining opponents they have.
Well, even with this Optic Gaming lineup, potentially, it just depends where they are in their sort of progression within the new team. If they can find that solid footing that make them one of the more dominant in the region, or if we kind of see this upside down sort of topsy-turvy thing they've got going on over there. But either way, every map win is going to count to this point. Yep. And as we go into Train, guys, we could talk about AWPs, we could talk about this, we could talk about that, but what are going to be the keys to victory here?
Wardell is going to be the key to victory for Ghost Gaming. There's no doubt about it. We've seen him play 3 times now. He's been the top record 3 times in a row for Ghost. So if he doesn't show up on a similar level and we just saw on Mirage, then there's going to be no chance for Ghost to win this one. We have seen Splyce play a Train already, and that didn't look too good either. I remember calling them to do some more YOLO stuff, and this is one of the games, where it could quickly turn into a deathmatch match, basically, where it's free for all. Everyone is taking the duels, and whoever wins the most duels wins the game. And I think that's what we're going to see on our hands in this one. And in that sense, Splyce has or should be having the better players in Rocat, Drone, played a decent game on Mirage as well. I don't see anyone else from Ghost going toe-to-toe with the Splyce players. That might sound a little bit weak because the Splyce players are not good in that sense, but they're just, better than bad, I guess.
Better than bad is certainly better than bad. So I don't know of any more Barney-style way to break that one down. My name's Trace. I'll be here all night. Thank you very much. I mean, Halvor, what do you think? Are you thinking along the same lines?
Yeah, no, it does kind of feel like the similar story. So even though it didn't exactly pan out the way we figured it would do on Mirage, the sentiment still, remains true in that sense. So I do think Splyce overall have the better players. I didn't think we got to see the best set of Exotic, for instance, on Mirage. I think that could very easily turn around going into Train. And that could be a pretty deciding duel, honestly, who gets the better of the Oppers in Wardell and Exotic.
And honestly, a set of Exotic is rather, it would be pleasing to see.
Yeah.
Let's say it that way. And Pimp, is there a chance here that Splyce puts up a better fight?
Yeah, I think definitely they're going to put up a better fight. I mean, it is going to be a chaotic match. There's going to be a lot of weird rounds for sure, but I think Exotic, we saw him play on Train already, and he's a decent player there, so I think Splyce is going to take this one, but it could potentially be a messy game and a close game, and I know Moses likes those.
Messy and close, and as Moses' roommate, I can also attest that it's how we operate over there. Take it away, guys.
Yes, thank you to our better than bad preview of what's to come.
I think that's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah? Where would you put it? Where would you rate it, Harry? And keep in mind, they are walking past you as you say
I mean,
these next
Trace did
words.
good as always.
Oh, okay. So it's the rest of them, huh?
Yeah, it's all good. I'm sure we're gonna have some great CS, Jason, at the end of the evening. Ghost versus Splyce. Of course, map number 2. Map 1 when all 30 rounds. Will we see a similar affair here? That's the question.
Yeah, felt like an overtime at one point, didn't it? Oh well, here we are live into the pistol round. Fresh carrot hand brought to you by the rest of the boys.
Yeah, they just know I love my carrots. So it's important to get them in you. Keeps the hair with its ginger tones.
Don't know why you'd ever want to keep that. I feel like it's the lack of soul that does that mostly.
I mean, you're not really the one to attack anyone over here, Jason. I feel like... Maybe you are the big judge when it comes down to it. But let's see how this push goes for Splyce. They're about to be judged in a big way also. And okay, they've smoked off. They've all pushed up. The bomb's going to go down. And Seb hasn't spotted any of this. They've got no clue what's going on inside the site. But now he comes peeking out. And he'll go in swinging, able to find the first, wants to try and get a bit more done. Aggression from Roka doesn't lead to much. It's Exotic. Pulling things back, he then falls at the hand of Wardell, leaving all the pressure on Sempis and Davey, and they both go down in unison. So that's the round going to be going the way of Ghost. They kickstart this one off in a big way.
Yeah, that's really nice from Ghost Gaming. I mean, just one player playing inside. When they see it's going to be in their hit, everyone's pushing forward. He falls all the way back towards CT spawn, gets in some safety, able to get a couple free kills as Splyce is trying to be aggressive, trying to hunt down any CT that's within the train yard. Plant's going to allow for a third round buy, though, so Splyce not going to invest a whole lot here. A couple P250s purchased, a flashbang onto Davey. They want to get those AK-47s out as fast as possible. It'll be another rush towards the inner bomb site for Splyce. Molotov out will slow things down, but they're going to walk anyways. It looks like one flash out through the window and waterfall out top ramp. No one really here to keep too big of an eye on this. It's Seb who's going to have an opportunity at long range. Oh, he's dinked up immediately. Low HP. Drone's going to try and get this plant going. Here's the SMG, though. Going to stop at 2 kills for him. Add in a third. And even if he gets taken down here, it's job well done, but it doesn't happen. Nice job from Ghost. Nice job from Wardell. The AWPer with 4 kills with the bonus money. He's going to get that AWP out.
Yeah, he's going to be laughing as he grabs the AWP early on. That is courtesy of those frags on the SMG. Buy comes in now for Splyce. They're going to have rifles almost across the board. Drone takes the hit in terms of the firepower. But he does get extra utility for it. Now it's 4 players for Ghost over here towards A. He's going to be trying to secure control of Pop Dog. It's Sabrosa and Stanley. They go ahead and take that by force. This is quite an important round for Splyce, because for the most part, Ghost haven't had to really reinvest too much into it. Wardell, the only man to upgrade. Meanwhile, Splyce, they've invested everything in it to this round, and they have not too much to work with. And this basically decides how much of a good start they get off to here in this map.
Brought to you by Logitech. Well, really slow-paced from Splyce. No engagements, no damage dealt quite yet. And after establishing that there's not going to be any pushes, Splyce is going to fall back just to an inner hit. 2 players in ladder room. Wardell rotating back with the AWP. Seb is going to be here close up at the first train. He's got a smoke. Wardell has another smoke as well. So this could be tough. Although I think 2 smokes just being used on lower ramp is a small mistake, but we'll see what Splyce can do to come through. Wardell's going to get a new position. Smoke's going to block him off. Seb's still alive on the bomb train. Here's all these footsteps, but he's not looking to his right. No mobility, no movement. Doesn't keep his head on a swivel, and you have to do that in those kinds of situations. But here comes the flank. Stanley goes down. Sub Rosa's still here. And he's got to just stay alive, keep a 2-front battle going, and it's Visa who's going to be able to take advantage of it with the UMP. And Roka still alive, but not for long. A couple of headshots at the end for Sub Rosa. It's a 3rd round for Ghost.
Yeah, and that's bad for Splyce, as while they've done damage, it was on the bonus round, sorry, from Ghost. So buy comes in now for the CT side, and while there is money for Splyce to try and salvage a buy, they're just going to go for a partial, which does make sense. We'll see a couple of players with armor, some pistols, and some utility to actually play with. The scary thing is that Wardell still has the AWP in hand. And he's going to be taking that over towards connector. It does leave Seb alone here at B, and he runs the risk of going down early on. The flash rains in. He's going to be throwing out the incendiary, and that will buy crucial time as Wardell now rotates round.
Looks like Splyce realizes that the opportunity is passed, so they're going to fall all the way back. And doing the whole pack mentality thing, all 5 players staying together. There's still 4 smokes to use and 1 flashbang. Here it comes. 3 players for Splyce lined up on this first row of train. Smoke going to be out for Olaf, and Stanley's going to get directly behind it. Sempha's going to jump into it. He goes down. Molotov as well gets extinguished. Wardell still alive on the bomb train. Going to try and stop this plant. Walking up. Goes for the blind. No scope. Doesn't get it. The bomb does go down. No chance of victory, but the bonus money from the plant is pretty much all that Splyce was after there. As the losing bonus builds up to 4 rounds, Ghost looking good, and all the meanwhile, very little damage is done. And such is the case.
Yeah, now that buy comes in. Exotic's going to have the AWP to try and work with. But right now, Splyce not really showing up to the party. You kind of hope that all changes here and now. Once again, leaving Seb over towards B solo, while Stanley and Sub Rosa go ahead and take control of Pop Dog early on. Wardell waits down by Ivy. From here, he can keep an eye over to Ward main and the Ivy position. Does have his work cut out for him, though. Right now, Splyce just holding their ground, not really committing to anything, waiting to see if Ghost perhaps overextend or make a mistake.
The op for Splyce going to be down towards Ivy. So is Wardell. He's the one who's going to be keeping his eye on it and peeking into it. There's a Molotov, brings him down to 81. But no more pressure coming in that position. So doubled up in ladder room again. And Semphis actually, with this Molotov out, could make things a little bit toasty. There are a couple players for Splyce in team mid, so if he throws this Molotov and they swing out wide, could put him right into the crosshairs of Roka, but one more smoke is going to delay that play, and they're just buying time at this point. Molotov in towards team main as well. This is harsh. You're going to be run down to very, very low on the timer. Here come the smokes. 25 seconds left as this hit begins. Sempus is going to lead the way out. Wardell with the kill. Subrosa traded off immediately. Goes for this is looking solid for Splyce. So they somehow gotten into a great position, a double kill. 8 seconds left. It's a 3-on-2. Once again, the UK player has turned this back into the favor of Ghost with the man advantage, and Exotic goes down. Sempus alone, 2 HP, and he's got nothing in the round whatsoever. Diffuse is going to come in. They're going to pick up the AWP. I don't know how Splyce lost track of Stanley, but that was a very awkward engagement.
And another big round for Ghost, a big round for Stanley once again. He had his fair share over on Mirage just moments ago. Getting a replay of this moment where he slips into the back line, and that was the play that changed it all. So now the buy comes in once again for Splyce. They don't pick up an AWP, instead they go rifles across the board. This suggests they might just try a faster play. Now Leon holding this same default once again, with Sempus heading over towards Pop Dog, and now support from Drone in this position. Players down over towards Ivy and Davey in main. One issue always seems to be like there is when Splyce kind of hit this brick wall, they do struggle, it feels like, to switch things up. And I feel like a lot of that now kind of resides on the fact that nothing really has been working for them.
I mean, the big thing they have to get over on Train, and granted this is a small, my opinion is based off a very small sample size of watching them play, but there are just too many rounds where they sit and do nothing until the 1 minute mark. I mean, look at what's happening here. There's a little bit of damage exchange this time with Wardell down towards 75, but there have been other rounds where there's no damage exchanged at the 30-second mark when they're executing. So they don't actually have knowledge of what defense they're going up against because they've never taken the opportunity. They've never had the courage to kind of probe the defense and see what happens. This time looks like they might be able to find an advantage. A tough setup here for Ghost. Subrosa can't find the double. There should be one more that peaks. It's Wardell with the op from range. And he's got to do more. Seb is in connector. There's the peek from Wardell. The flick up's not going to work, and it's a 1-on-3. Davies going to find the last two. Finally, Splyce on the board. They're first in this half. Still decent amount of money, or one more buy essentially for Ghost that Splyce is going to have to burn through.
Yeah, the only issue is they're not out of the woods just yet, and this time it looks like we might see some aggression. Wardell and Visa starting to go aggressive down here towards Ivy. Roka's holding for it, spots Wardell, and Visa going to offer himself up as well. Roka swiftly shuts down at 2.
That position to watch pushes is so strong, right next to the trash containers. I'm surprised that no team has found like a really good way if they want to be aggressive towards Ivy, like some kind of pop flash that would affect that position, just pre-firing that angle or whatever. But 2 players down in this round for Ghost and not a lot of utility to bring them back into it is so tough to handle. Over a minute remaining with a 2-man advantage, and Splyce have full control. The one thing that could turn the fortunes is Seb pushing in her at the moment. He would have to catch Sempus here. He is going to do it, but he's brought down very, very low.
Yeah, now the pressure's going to all fall onto Stanley. He's been the man to step up for Ghost in a number of these rounds. Now he's got to do it once again, this time from Old Hell. Roka's the first to peek in, but he only gets one. Subrosa has been spotted out over in Pop, and Seb being tagged to 12 HP. It is a big task for him to get much done here. He's going to start to creep round. He's somehow find Exotic, still on 1 HP, going to keep going forward. Drone actually sticks the plant there. Peeks on over the top of the bomb train. He is doing a lot of damage for a man who's tagged so low. And the question remains is, when will he fall? Subrosa's now rotated in. It looked like maybe a round that they were considering saving in, but now there's a real possibility. Davies falling. It all falls onto Drone, and he Molotovs off the bomb, but the smoke denies it. And now he has to go for the peak, starts to run round, and Takes the first and the second. Seb gonna fall 1 HP. He wasn't too keen on running into the bullets. So it is saved by Drone in the 1-on-2. But it comes down to the wire, and this means that the economic woes of Splyce are not quite over just yet.
Yeah, but fair play to was that Seb with the 1 HP? That was just, like, he did so much to keep them in that round. So a really good effort coming out of him there at the end, almost pulling it in Ghost's favor, even just staying alive at the train after the initial kill. That's huge. Davey gonna work his way out, and he's taken out by Sub Rosa with the Deagle, and Seb soon to spot somebody, and there goes Semphis, and all of a sudden, this round is not looking good. No one wants to jump into Seb, and now he's got to hold the angle. Just one kill is so huge, and he actually does damage onto his second. Both players going to have to commit themselves to the bomb site, and it doesn't even matter. Sub Rosa with the shoulder peaks, with the pre-fire, finds a second headshot with the Deagle, and all of a sudden Drone 1-on-4. He's got the range, but that Deagle's been doing work. There's one kill, and he's brought down too low. Sub Rosa, the hero in this round, gives Ghost a response. And now the money is gone. I mean, Drone has 8,200. Everyone else can get pistols for Splyce.
Dan, you imagine a lot of the conversation here is whether or not they are going to buy up behind it. I mean, lots of extra money on Drone means that they could. On the flip side, he could just drop into the next round, because I think we had 2 players that were below the threshold to buy, but of course he could just drop rifles over, and the rest of the team could buy around it.
Yeah, it's just that kind of a buy is so risky, especially for a T side where you know they haven't had a whole lot of success. I don't think that the winning strategy is going to be get it off in someone's hands and pistols in the others and see what he can do. So it's still pretty early. There's still 7 rounds remaining in this half, and although they do seem to be listening to you, Harry, so that seems to be one of the major issues in Splyce's game plan. But
yeah. No, not.
There's still 7 rounds, right? Like you don't need to be making this purchase. If you lose this one, where you only have really one strong weapon of damage, one strong player of utility, and a Galil is your next best weapon, and there goes the Galil. There goes everyone. The op's not even involved yet, is it? So all of a sudden, all this money invested, all this opportunity, this could lead into a double save scenario.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of weighing up the risks of buying, and if they went for it, I would imagine that we would have seen, you know, 3 AKs dropped, which I think is what... sorry, 2 AKs and a Galil, right? Because then at least you kind of have some rifles, but they load all their hopes onto Exotic. And he hasn't really been able to do anything into this round just yet. It was very isolated from those fights and showed up late, so now it's a 3-on-4. They're going to boost him over, but no one's in the firing line. And Wardell's gone aggressive just to really kind of be the icing on the cake here. The carrot cake, of course. He's already all the way up through. Man, he gets so much information. He's allowed all 3 players to rotate into this B-bomb site. So, okay. Roka has been able to drop Stanley from the site now. The pressure falls onto Seb. They've been allowed to cross. Seb goes creeping through. The nade from Sabrosa. Gonna just eliminate Roka flat out. It's Wardell on the flank that could do all the damage. He's gonna get legged, and now it's Davey 1v3, not meant to be. Let's Ghost Gaming arrive at a 7th.
Plant's gonna help out though, and they actually have that AWP on A ramp that they can pick up if they choose to switch into the op, which they do. Wardell grabs that one. And now it remains to be seen what the money is. Yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world. 1 save should do it. Maybe some investment in P250s, some light utility as well, but Splyce gonna have to sit 1 round out, and Ghost Gaming, they're looking... I mean, there's still a very strong half for them on the CT side. Still an opportunity for Splyce to claw back into it, but you know, 1 or 2 more gun round wins, and all of a sudden Ghost is gonna have 11. So Splyce has to be careful. They need to rack their brains for everything that's worked in this half so far and come up with an answer quick. Wardell with the AWP. Would love for someone to peek into it. Molotov going to hold him back. Davey's already out. He's playing with the ladder a little bit to try and find some information. He's been spotted as well. As the hail of gunfire, AK-47 fire comes in, he's going to back away. Visa's here for support. Wardell certainly going to take that peek. You would imagine Visa's got to be more aware, and he is. Wardell buys him some time. And Ghost handling this with ease. All 5 players live.
Yeah, Ghost are looking good right now. This is probably one of the best performances we've seen from them thus far in Pro League. And they've gone from, you know, being bottom of the board, having no wins, to now having 1. They want to try and claim their second here and now. Currently 8-2 up versus Splyce in this first half. And we're kind of approaching the latter stages now of this first half, where money still is not a problem for Ghost. And there's no such story for Splyce. They've invested everything into this round, and already Wardell has found an opener onto Semphis. So that is an advantage taken early on for Ghost, and they will take that in their stride. Davey will be there to chip in with an equalizer. Stanley, the resident Brit, here will fall.
Well, here they come. Good kill from Roka. They'll need more, but Sub Rosa still lives in ladder room, and we know as long as a player is alive there, there's always a chance, and didn't really need to evacuate, if I'm completely honest, but Wardell on the hunt now. This is going to be so hard for him to clear directly to the right. Roka, there's the position. He's looking for it. That was all down to timing. Roka was looking everywhere but that angle for such a long time. Spins in the right moment. That'll be the round. That'll be the 3rd for Splyce. So they've done it. They've gotten back on the board after the save. Ghost is still going to have money, but this is a chance for Splyce to build back up into this game and have a respectable first half, a window of opportunity into the second.
Regardless, so you kind of feel like Splyce, their victory in this first half is on a knife's edge. You know, if they chain together a couple, then they could make this a respectable half yet. The only issue is once again, the kind of threat of a reset is still looming, and the economy is still booming for Ghost. Timeout called in, and a chance now to try and figure out what exactly went wrong in the previous round.
Yeah, and I think this will be, I was going to say one of their last buys. It could be. Sub Rosa has plenty of money. But you don't want to find yourself, you know, losing this round 8-4 and having to save, because then all of a sudden it's a very close half when you feel like you've been dominating it most of this stretch up until now. So Ghost, yeah, definitely talking things over, definitely saying, how do we make sure Roka can't find the open space like that? That 3 kills for him in the previous round were huge. AWP on Exotic, AWP on Wardell. Plenty of nades on both sides. There goes Sub Rosa. Davey beats him to the punch, and Stanley can't respond. He only had an M4, would have been a miraculous shot, but Ghost is going to have to find the rebuttal somehow, and Seb's going to get called upon. Here comes the inner hit. Smoke down. That's going to be awkward, but Seb needed to hold on a little bit longer. Needed to live a few more seconds. Although that smoke is going to allow Stanley some time to make a play. And he is indeed making it. He does have Roka wrapping around that first train, but Drone's going to be a free kill. What more can he find? Roka spins. Good awareness, and pretty interestingly enough, it might have been different if Wardell and Visa had actually come towards that inner bomb site and had been able to occupy Roka, but they'd already called for the save while Stanley was pushing up. Not a bad call. Wardell will be able to drop. Sub Rosa will be able to buy himself. And Seb likely with the UMP, so it'll be a decent buy, all things considered.
Yeah, definitely when you consider that we've seen them do more with less, but now that they've lost Visa, things get called into question. They are going to go for it. Sub Rosa, interestingly enough, going to be buying up an AWP. So it's a double AWP set up here for Ghost, and UMP out for Seb. Exotic's got the AWP of his own now for Splyce. And a win here for Splyce would be fantastic. A chance for them to make this half a very, very close one indeed. Early on, Semphis going to try and take control of drop. 4-man set up for Ghost inside of this A-bomb site. Exotic peeking into Ivy. Does have Visa and Wardell here to worry about. won't occupy his mind much longer as he rotates away. Going to be trading positions with Drone. All in all, it's a very passive holder right now from Ghost as they hang back, trying to bait Splyce into a peek here. Visa now just waiting with the 5-7. This is a perfect angle for this weapon. Drone doesn't check it, and Drone's offered up the bomb. And with it, a real shot here for Ghost to win this round out, especially as Sabro's going to go ahead and extend that man advantage that much more. Davey drops, and now it's Semphis and Exotic. 2 on 5. Somehow this round has gone cataclysmically wrong.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it.
Very dramatic use of language.
Yeah, it really was.
Trying to paint a picture, Jason.
All right, that's not
An
bad.
artist.
Let's slow down before you cut off your ear, at least. Flame's going to keep Splyce at bay, although it actually just isolates them. Semphis is pushed up, and they baited him right in. Although somehow Semphis wins that battle, and Exotic covers him from the right. But surely Exotic can't actually win this one. 15 seconds on the clock, picks up the bomb, 2 AWPs to work with. He's going far too slow. He's wasted about 4 seconds, and now, yeah, it's either jump through the smoke or retreat. And there's the pick from Wardell, easy. As he approaches the bomb site. Double op setup picked up for Ghost. The 2 ops will have to drop M4s over to help their teammates buy. And actually, I think Sub Rosa bought too quickly. Some extra utility and maybe even head armor, but oh well. 5 AKs on the board for Splyce. Even 4 doesn't really feel good enough for him, so winning here would be huge. Money's still low. They've had him at the breaking point for so long. They just need that last little push over the edge. Roka leading the way. He's going to wrap onto that bomb site. Great shot from Sub Rosa. While being mobile, gun barrel showing, and there goes Drone. He was hoping that the Opera would swing out a little bit wider. Visa going to fall as well, but Stanley now, he's being bold. He's pushing out towards ladder room. An awkward angle that Exotic reads. It's Wardell and Seb, and Wardell on this big flank towards ladder train. He's going to call it out. One's in the middle of the ladder. They don't know where the other is. They haven't spotted Semphis just yet, but he's at 2 HP, and there he goes. And an easy kill at the end. 10-4, and that should take all the buys away from Splyce. They're going to have to invest everything into this last round, but it's going to be nothing special.
Yeah, you know, when they went for that double AWP buy just 2 rounds ago, I thought it was a really big gamble for Ghost to be taking, you know, not dropping more rifles with the money they had. But it worked out for them across both of those rounds quite nicely. Now Splyce, their economy was on the ropes in that previous round. They force-bought down what they can into the last of this half, but 4 rounds, as you pointed out, does not feel good enough. It does not instill confidence in me, doesn't instill confidence in you, and it definitely doesn't in Splyce. You need everything they can get at this point. Seb and Sabrosa. A couple name being Sabrosa inside of this B bomb site. Looking to try and lock things down. A quick rotation from Wardell. Can it come through?
The old inner bomb site execute. Sub Rosa to defend on the bomb train. Seb here as well. See how flash Sub Rosa gets. This could be a slaughter as they come out. No utility being used from upper. Yeah, he's not blind at all, but he misses that first kill, which ensures his doom. Although Roka, with the help of Semphis, is going to crater, and that's awkward. Missed shots from Seb. He recovers nicely. 4 on 2. Deagle and CZ versus Rifles AWP, and of course the CZ is going to come out on top initially. Seb pushing up now. Awkward angle to fight at. Pretty much a headshot angle, but his teammates here, they were just keeping Exotic pinned down, and Davey a 1 versus 3. Pretty sure only Fallen can win this.
He is fallen down as he get. Oh,
All right, walk away.
Yeah.
Take the mic off.
Oh, well, as it's all over for me, it also looks like it might be all over for Splyce. They're at quite a big deficit here. They sit 7 rounds behind. Really had to think about that one. Not quick maths, slow maths, but still. They are going to be tasked uphill battle here in the second half as they now move on to the CT side. Currently, I've been impressed with Ghost. They have looked very good in this matchup. And it feels like we're seeing a few key players that have been silent in the early stages of the Pro League thus far, now starting to find their footing in this roster.
Yeah, they do look a little bit more solid, don't they? Well, yeah. I mean, it's good to see. They're, you know, they've been able to put in some work while some of the, you know, Katowice was going on this week back. They've looked much more organized, much more refreshed, and obviously Wardell playing at a high level. Stanley seems to be very solid overall. So a couple nice pieces there. Seen a lot of these kind of organizations start to pick up young talents in North America who seem to be good fits for a squad. Whereas just a couple years ago, didn't seem to be a whole lot of opportunity or hope in some of the young players. They seem to have started to improve in many different ways. Davies pushing up inner, getting a lot of intel, allowing 4 players to stack outside, and Ghost so incredibly passive.
Yeah, it goes. They start to creep the way of Davey. He's gone aggressive. If he falls, you have Semphis and Drone rather to rotate into that site very, very quickly, which they now will do. The only issue is this has kind of left now a lot of pressure onto Roker and Exotic inside the A-bomb site. They've been hung out to dry.
Yeah, well, there's utility on Visa still at that inner bomb site. He's going to toss that out. Smoke 2 flashes. That's going to pull Exotic away from the bomb train. It's Roka who's going to hear these footsteps first. That's a great shot. He needs to build upon it, but he can't. Thankfully, the call came in quick enough, although with Semphis going down, it's just Exotic. He's alone in the bomb site. So many different angles. He's got 2, though. Somehow he's done that. Visa, 1 on 2. Spots 1 a connector, and he goes down quickly. Drone with a double kill to back up his teammate. He's going to get the second half pistol round. Great shots inside the bomb site.
Yeah, Ghost going to be forced buying down at Splyce. They'll be happy with that one. Looking to try and grab an early lead here on the CT side. Sabrosa has been very proficient with this Deagle. This time he's not able to find anything early on, but he's still looking. Davey and Roker down inside of B haven't gone probing for anything. In fact, everyone for Splyce taking this very, very passively. Don't want to risk giving anything up to the pistols on Ghost. But look at Sabrosa, he's all the way out. This is the one downside of being so passive. He's taken so much ground in Semphis. I don't think he's got any idea that there could be a man this far up. He's been spotted. Missed shots from Sabrosa. That was the real shot to find some progress, and Semphis is going to be quick to shut him down. And now Seb going to go walking into B. Stanley's here in Ivy as well, but he falls to Drone. Slowly but surely, Ghost are getting picked off.
I feel for Sabrosa there. That's not an easy shot to hit, especially when the Deagle can be such a fickle mistress. Bomb down out in the open, and it's just Seb left. Fighting in the flames. Fama's going to do the work. Semphis with 3 kills in the round as Splyce climb back into it. Not a plant in either of those. Ghosts, they're going to have to sit this one out. Shouldn't invest in anything. Keep the Glocks. Try and get some kind of a desperation plant, but that's dicey. There's a lot of SMGs, a lot of bonus money that can be had here from Splyce.
Davey peeking up ramp. I think he was spotted there. He has a nade out, so has to be a bit careful. Does go ahead and throw it in, but don't find anything. And this is like a real shot for Davey and Roker to make some fast, easy money. These 5 naked players come their way, and they will be sent back to the depths from which they came. A 7th round for Splyce. They keep it pretty clean. Davey goes down, but Roker's made a boatload of money. But now the buy comes in for Ghost. An easy streak has officially ended here for Splyce.
Yeah, this is going to be tough, though. Roka's already at 8,400. They've got Semphis and Exotic sitting just below 6,000. Drone's at 6,000. I mean, there's a lot of money already to burn through for Splyce. They've done such a good job in those 2 rounds, not taking a whole lot of damage, so Ghost has to get to winning pretty much immediately And if not, they need to have rounds where even if they lose, they get 3 to 4 kills. Pretty solid bonus round, 2 FAMAS and 2 UMPs bought up. So this round, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't mean too much to Splyce.
Slowly clearing over here toward B. Splyce have got Drone starting to peek into Ivy, and actually just as he starts to commit to that, Ghost Gaming rotate Stanley and Sabrosa away. No, he's going to go back. They keep kind of toying with the idea that someone might go aggressive, and Drone certainly has. On the back of the information he gave, they've started to rotate Semphis into that B bomb site. But Ghost, they double back, and they're going to try hitting A.
A lot of advanced positions, though. Drone is pushed up towards, like, well into Ivy. A lot of information there. And look at what's happening to the defense because of that. Everyone's over at the B bomb site. Actually, that could be a fatal flaw. They have Roka in ladder room, but it's actually just 2 UMPs in this outer train yard that are defending. And because there's no one actually looking, they have no idea. There's Visa. There's the bomb that goes down. A second kill for Roka. He goes back into the ladder room, and somehow he makes it work. He's going to smoke himself off, keep himself alive. FAMAS coming out of CT mid, and Wardell's going to fall as well. Great round from Roka. Big job to do, and he handles it perfectly. And Ghost, because of that attack from Roka out of ladder room, they just get all confused and discombobulated, and it just collapses from there. So the bonus round for Splyce works phenomenally. They upgrade to an AWP for free. Switch over to some AK-47s, upgrade from those UMPs. Roka is now sitting at $12,000 with a full buy.
Yeah, money's not a problem for Splyce, and so they're starting to see a bit of a resurgence in their confidence here as well. Sabrosa, keep bigging him up with the Deeg. Let's see if he can relive some heroics of times gone by. Paint Semphis up with a little bit of damage, tags him down to 66, but not yet to find anything in the way of an opener for Ghost. Visa starts to creep on out. They're toying with the idea of going A, but they're taking things slowly. Exotic just hammering down the angle with the AWP. Still yet to fire a shot and give away that the AWP is going to be set up for this position. Sabrosa now out with the Deeg. And this is where we see, can he make a play? Spots the head of Exotic. Whoop, that's awkward. Really hate to see that. Quick switch out before you take the shot. Exotic was given an opportunity there, but now he has to try and make up for his shortcomings as this play looks to come in. He's on the bomb train. Quick flick out, going to miss the first shot. Doesn't miss it the second time around, though. Sabrosa, well fallen Exotic. He's trying to get the frag movie clip. He's going to be in with a third. He might have just done it. And Wardell falls at the end. A nice 3K there from Exotic. You love to see that as Splyce pick themselves up a 9th round.
Seen some solid rounds out of both of these young AWPers on each team, and obviously Exotic. Some showmanship there, flair for the dramatic. I think Ghost Gaming is having a really tough time in this T side. They have been blanked so far. 5 rounds in a row for Splyce, and this is the same round in the first half that Splyce, they started the same thing, an 0-5 hole, and got a round in the 6th. Good opening from Wardell, ready for Roka to swing in. That'll force Davey back towards the outer bomb site. Exotic, meanwhile, responds. He was pushed at upper, pushed into those box halls. He's able to punish Visa. Now Sabrosa. We saw this on Mirage. Love taking some duels. Just kind of wanted to get out into the open, mostly towards the B halls on Mirage. This time he wants to get out mid and just find fights and take them. Stanley gets the opportunity, the open spaces. There's Zotic with the AWP, and Wardell peeks right back into it. The follow-up from Zotic as well. Quick scope, and oh my god, he almost got a third. It was so close going for the flick, and it's all on Semphis. Bomb back down in T-mid, and Semphis going to try and make a play. Spots one, misses the shot, gives up his position as well. Now he has to get aggressive. Swaps out over to the M4, and trying to read what comes next from Ghost. He's in connector, and will he commit? Yes, he does. So Broza They're all going to go towards the upper ramp, and fortunately walking now, Sempus isn't going to see it in time. Good headshot from Stanley. 2 kills on him, 2 on Sabrosa. And Ghost have finally gotten started on the T side.
Yeah, it took them 6 rounds, but they finally managed to pick up their first here on the T side. The only issue is now their economy is poised for the reset. And it's no such problem for Splyce just yet. They still have a ways to go before they successfully manage to break down the CT side economy. But for Ghost now, they've tasted blood. Will they be spurred on to continue their slaughter spree? Once again, another slow round from Ghost. They're a big fan of these. Memphis going to be Molotov'd out of Pop Dog. And now Ghost with 3 players down, and Ivy start to make their way in. They've thrown out a smoke for the left-hand side. That's going to send Drone back, and that now leaves the pressure instead on Semphis and Exotic inside of the bomb site.
On the cover of fire and smoke, Ghost has gotten to the end of Ivy. Flashbangs out. Here comes the hit. Great shot from Exotic, and he builds. No, not this time. And now everything is going in the favor of Ghost. Seb peeking right at the correct moment. Drone seemed to have him lined up, but couldn't get it done in time. The bomb being planted. Davey backing away. Roka now joining him as Splyce gives up the round. So just when it was looking great for Splyce, Ghost extend the lead. That'll be 13 for them.
Yeah, 13th round for Ghost, and they've had a brief taste of what success is, and now they want more of it. And it will come in an abundance as they pick themselves up a 13th round there. Keeping 4 players alive, starting to build up some money here on the T side, which is what you like to see. An investment can come from Splyce, no problem, but a pause now called in. And Splyce, it seemed like they had it all figured out in these last few rounds. Things have started to fall apart for them.
Yeah, this hasn't been great, has it?
One kind of silver lining for them, at least, is they keep those 2 players alive, and that's really taken the burden out of the buy here for them. They can actually buy up in the next on the back of this. Had they lost everyone, I don't think that would have been the case. The AWP's going to get picked up late there, so maybe I'm wrong in that now. But, you know, got enough money to buy up on 3 or 4 of the players. Does give them a fighting chance if they lose this round.
Well, we'll see how it goes. Oh, I love this play. Sabrosa, pop flash from his teammate, calling for it, but actually no one's there to make the play, so he's just kind of looking silly, but he's going to get a kill out of it anyway. Sneaks all the way down, finds 1 frag. That pulls Exotic just out of position. It's just Davey inside. He's spotted 1. How many kills can he get? Oh, Stanley drops underneath the crosshair. It's got to be a kill on the wrap, and it is from Seb, but there's Exotic just coming in. Great trades all across the board. Bomb still down, though, and Wardell spotted 1 more. 2-on-2 situation, and this AWP is just narrowly missing. Roka feeling the heat, throwing out a Molotov as well, and now it's Wardell. He has got to make an insane play. 1-on-2, 2 different locations, and that would have been the shot to hit. He had the right idea, just can't land it. And Splyce narrowly pull out this victory.
Yeah, they're going to start to rock the double AWP setup as well, so a 10th round for Splyce. They managed to answer back with 1. They won't have reset the Ghost economy just yet. So a buy can come in here. Going to have all the trimmings, everything that they would need to find success. Same story though for Splyce. And Only 3 rounds separating these two teams. This one is an important round because it's, well, it's a reset for Ghost, and it's a very tricky situation for Splyce. I think they could get a bit of a bare bones by going. But you'd imagine they would, they wouldn't have everything they would need to feel comfortable. That is for certain. So this is it. This is a big round for either side. And one, I imagine, will play in to who takes home the W here on Train.
Seb ate some damage from a nade coming through the window, so that's quite nice. Down to 54. Might have been tagged by some bullets as well. Pretty evenly matched, these teams, both running into some economy issues down the stretch. Comes the hit. Wall is smokes. Roka and Semphis playing in front of them, though. So Ghost has to be careful, and Molotov is delaying in the time they can take this attack. Roka with a nice shot that come from a new angle. He adjusts very well. Now it's Semphis' turn, but he can get nothing done. 3-on-3, Wardell is low, but he can stay far back with that off. Here's one player. Drone pushes through the smoke. No one's covering him. Stanley does get the return, and it's all of a sudden down to just Davey as Wardell still providing cover with the AWP. Not going to be aware of Davey's position. I don't think either of them spotted each other. Awkward scenario, and Stanley about to get taken down for free, and Wardell on top of the train, waiting for the peek, and he's going to get it. Davey crawls his way up 14, and that's the reset. An immediate response, and oh boy, you hate to see the money that's coming out for Splyce. Unless you're a Ghost fan.
Yeah, in which case you're very happy about this one.
Pumped up.
I'm excited.
Ghost fan?
You know, I'm a big fan of either one of these teams. Ghost, though, I mean, I have to say, I'm just more happy because it feels like we're starting to see some success from them at least. I would have hated if they just kind of went through the, you know, it got to the point where it felt like they were never going to get a win. And it feels like, you know, now the key players are stepping up. And Stanley as well, currently having a good time. I know he wasn't in the best situation when it came to circumstances in which he was playing. I wonder if those have changed because he definitely seems to be putting up better scorelines now. But already man advantage found early on for Sabrosa. That's another name as well. He was struggling initially. And for me, at least when he joined, there was a decent bit of hype around him. I've always enjoyed watching him play.
Hello.
That's exotic down, though. And Stanley and Sabrosa, the two in question, the first two players in this round to find openers. They look to try and lock this one down now. It wasn't enough to get their first win tonight. They want to get their second as well.
Well, a lot of time with a 5-on-3, and no need to overcomplicate this. Just everyone group up and play for trades. 30 seconds left. Fake being thrown towards the inner bomb site. There's a good kill from Drone. He's backing away now. They need to trade that off, and they do. Seb has pounced in, but he finds nothing. And actually, this could be a disaster. There's a kill onto the bomb. 15 seconds left. They have to find Davey. He's in a 1-on-3, but he's got the time. He's got the clock in his favor. He can only get 2. He's got them both. Down to just 12 HP, and he just doesn't even need to fight. He can just buy time. 5 seconds, and there's the tap for the plant. He's going to go for it and gets off the bomb, and that's the kill. Last second, Seb. Davey cannot hold his nerve. The footsteps pull Seb off the plant. And it's just so close for Davey, but it's heartbreaking.
It does not get closer than that. There was 1 second left. Seb, he took the gamble of getting off the bomb, and it does pan out for him now. Ghost Gaming, they have pulled into the station at 15-10. Match point. As they look to win out this series, 2-0. Semphis first man to fall. Sabrosa has been a bit of a beast at finding these entries out towards A. Davey going to try and replicate these UMP heroics in the previous round. He's gone down. So still man advantage maintained. Now Roka lies in wait down and connector players. Not going to start to come his way just yet, but they flash on through. Stanley's the first man in, trying to gain some ground for Ghost. Going to start to pull back. And the only thing is here, with Sabrosa and Wardell tagged down so low, get a bit worried that Ghost Gaming might end up playing themselves here.
Yeah, could very easily be a multi-kill situation, so they're going to have to be cautious, especially with those CZs. Just one of those random bullets that goes sideways could ruin some days. Plenty of time on the clock, though, for Ghost to make Splyce sweat it out. Exotic and Drone and Connector. Drone boosted up. You like this play call, though, from Ghost, is let one of the low HP guys lead the way. He's expendable. Find out where Splyce is, and then the high HP players can take advantage and make the correct decisions after that. Sabro's going to wrap around the bomb train, sees them boosted up. It's one of the HP players that goes down first, oddly enough. And that smoke is going to block Roka and Exotic from getting involved. Roka is going to be on the flank, nearing the end of this, and he goes down, and it just feels like Sub-Rosa's position up top is just far too strong for Exotic. Too many players to find, and that's going to be it for Ghost. A hard-fought win, a comeback from Splyce, but well-earned from Ghost. Exotic, nothing left to do here. They're just toying with him at this point, although he sees the legs, gets a kill. It's down to a one-on-one. With the timer running low, no chances, so Ghost is going to go 2-0 on the evening with this 16-10 victory over Splyce. Well played from them. Impressive stuff from Stanley once he eventually got in. And then obviously Wardell had a good series overall. So fair play to Ghost.
Yeah, one win tonight wasn't enough for them. They go ahead and get their first 2 on the board, which is what you like to see. Now they're at that bottom of the area is getting that much more competitive.
Yes, I love competitive bottoms. Don't you, Trace?
Only flat bottoms.
All right.
I don't really like too much up and down. Just
So
a flat bottom.
They make the rock and roll go round.
They do, indeed. And with that, we will be going right into this post-match analysis here. I am with my esteemed colleagues in Pimp and Vendetta, of course. They've been backstage with me, hydrating, getting ready for this last powerful segment of the evening. Now, guys, Ghost Gaming have done it.
They have. Proved us wrong twice. I guess now the question is, did we have too high expectations of Splyce, or did we underestimate Ghost? And I guess, to be fair, one thing that did throw a bit of a wrench into our predictions is the fact that VSA obviously joined today, which obviously you know gave them a bit of a boost, and you could definitely see it. Stanley also probably having his 2 best games of Pro League so far. And yeah, just more of a cohesive effort from Ghost in general, just from an individual point of view.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, I don't think any of us expected Ghost to be up 2-0 after this game against Splyce. And when you look at the way they won, it was pretty convincing, let's say. It was a little bit back and forth. It was messy rounds, especially the last one we saw here where Davey went down that one-on-one and didn't play the time. It was like, it's not pretty Counter-Strike, but they take it and they get the win. And in that way, it's a great one for Ghost. Going 2-0 against Splyce, that's, again, we talked about it in the pre-show and the post-match after the first game. That could be very, very, very important when you go down into that relegation. You know, to have Dignitas, if you take them 2-0 as well, then we might see a Ghost team who maybe can avoid relegation against all odds.
Which would be, for all intents and purposes,
Like
the best you can aim for at this point.
a miracle.
Which way, I mean, we've talked about the difference between some teams know they're going to be in the playoff contention later on in the season. We know some teams trying to stay alive, trying to stay afloat, trying to stay above water.
I mean, what we find out in this game is that Splyce is going to be nowhere in that sense. You know, Splyce is going to be down in the relegation. Like we could have maybe hoped that this would be the season where Splyce took it to the next level. You know, maybe being a contender for the 7th or the 8th spot in the league, or maybe you know if they were lucky enough get into that top 6. But we're seeing them now play 8 games in a total, and it's just not good enough. You know, they're not nowhere near where they're supposed to be with these players, and they haven't progressed at all. It just looks like the same placeholder team as always. So a little bit disappointed in Splyce, and losing 2-0 to Ghost, no matter how well they're playing, no matter how well Wardell was playing on the first map and Stanley on the second map, it's just not okay. You know, there should be some more behind this, and back to the drawing board, and maybe readjust the situation.
Readjust the situation might be one of the more serious lines I've ever seen Pimp say, and look me right directly in my eyes as he says it. And I think it's simply a case where you have several known names, several known players throughout the Splyce lineup, but it's not simply the case that you're running around dominating the competition anymore. These guys, for all intents and purposes, have made a name for themselves. They have earned this spot, but now they have to retain it, and that's just the story as it's told. But that does it for our post-match analysis. We could take a look at some of today's results. We had 3 16-10 showings all day long. You know what? Halvor, I feel like you're ready, you're juiced up, you're hydrated. Take it away, man.
We started off with a pretty good spicy showing, honestly. We got to see Nuke for the first time in a long time here in the first matchup with Rogue and Luminosity, and Rogue managing to steal away a map from one of the potential top 6 contender of the league. And then with Fury, Luminosity struck back on Train, their own map pick, and got their other 16-10 victory of the night. So pretty even showing there. Rogue has to be happy about that. We talked about how they might be crowned winners if we wanted to crown one. And then obviously, well, I guess the biggest surprise, honestly, of the night, Ghost going 2-0 in the matches we just saw versus Splyce, 16-14 in a tight match versus Splyce and Mirage, and then obviously closing it out on Train.
Closing down the Train. Let's go ahead, turn the page, and read it to me. Take it away, Pim.
We got the hot match of the week tomorrow, having Liquid going up against Renegades. That's going to be very interesting. I think both teams have been playing their best Counter-Strike pretty much ever, and they're both in a good state. Liquid, as of recently, after they came back and are playing online games again, are looking not too sharp after Katowice, so that's going to be interesting to see if they can pick it up against Renegades, whereas Renegades have everything to play for. You know, they're playing for the top 6 spots, whereas Liquid already more or less secured that now, considering they have faced the best teams in the league. Moving on to Uptick against Ghost, it could be interesting. We saw Ghost again today, giving up a fight against Splyce and actually winning 2 maps, and Uptick haven't been looking too stable, so there may be a chance for a little surprise tomorrow again from Ghost. And could they steal another map, you know, then they all of a sudden look pretty solid in terms of avoid relegation.
I think even on top of that, we talked about what are the odds that Ghost is able to come out and find this Optic lineup not exactly sitting pretty. But yes, the Renegades, in terms of what they need to look forward to, I think it's pretty clear cut that they want to establish themselves as, we're here to stay among the top. Yep. We didn't just pick up a win in the summer and that's it. You know, we're here to stay, and they need to show it now, starting with online, starting with LAN results, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles. So today's highlights, I believe, is what it would be all about, and we're going to be jumping right into that. You guys got any closing words before I shut this bad boy down?
Good Exciting to see Ghost actually playing Counter-Strike today.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't see it first week, they were not on the server.
It's true, and the servers, of course, I should remind you, are at play.esea.net. The fastest servers worldwide, I can almost guarantee you that. That does it for us today. We're going to be coming back tomorrow for the final day of matches here at the ESL Pro League. We'll see you then.
Incendiary out.